Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Welcome back. Today I have to talk about the Washington Wizards. Hope everybody's having a great day. What's going on, Kevin? What's going on, Rain? Uh, as you can see by the title of the stream, the Wizards have a Wes Unseld Jr. problem, right? So, let me just get what I have to say off. The Washington Wizards are currently, as I look at their record, I'm pretty sure, the Washington Wizards are currently 11-20, I believe. They have the they're tied for the fifth worst record in the NBA, tied with the Orlando Magic. But the difference is the Orlando Magic are on a 6-game winning streak. The Wizards are on a 10-game losing streak, the longest losing streak currently in the NBA. Man, if you and I wasn't, that high on the current team, but if you were to tell me the Wizards would be on a 10-game losing streak and be the fifth worst team in the NBA currently at this point, 30 games into the season, if you were to tell me 30 games in, the Wizards would be the fifth worst team in the NBA and on a 10-game losing streak, I would have been like, you're trolling. Like, I don't think the Wizards roster is like that great, but they ain't that bad. Like, but under Wes Unseld Jr., they have become that bad. Like, I like the Wizards are so bad right now that is scaring me. I'm more scared than like angry. Like, yeah, in the long run, this could be a good thing as far as like tanking and all that, yada yada yada, Victor and all that. Like, yeah, cool, that's cool, but bro, like, this is really bad. Like, this is really bad because the Wizards aren't supposed to be a tanking team. They're not supposed to be this bad. This is really bad. Like, Wes Unseld Jr., I mean, looking at his resume, bro, so far. Looking at his resume so far as the Wizards coach. Let me just go to my tweet real quick. Wes Unseld Jr. lost a 35-point lead against the Clippers, which is tied for the second largest comeback in play-by-play history. The Washington Wizards this season lost by 42 points, which was their largest home defeat in franchise history. The Denver Nuggets this season scored 98 points in the paint, which is the most in a game on record. This is all under Wes Unseld Jr., who's supposed to be a defensive coach, bringing a defensive identity to the team. This is nuts. Like, this is nuts. The Wizards are currently on a 10-game losing streak. The longest losing streak in the franchise history is 16 games. Like, 10 straight. They're down here with the 2009-2010 Wizards right now, currently. They're like 2009-2010 Wizards-ish. Like, matter of fact, let me compare. The Wizards, who lost 16 games in a row, 2009 to 2010. Let me look at the Wizards 2009 to 2010 roster. And let me see who's on that team in comparison to this team. The Wizards finished 26-56 that season. In the 2009 to 2010 season, they had Gilbert Arenas, Andre Blatch, Earl Boykins, Caron Butler, Paul Davis, Randy Foye, Alonzo G, Mike Harris, Brendan Haywood, Josh Howard, Cedric Jackson, Mike James, Antoine Jameson, Sean Cartier, JaVale McGuire, Mike Miller, Sean Stevenson, Nick Young, etc. This is the tail end of the Gil, Antoine, Karan era. This is the tail end because the next season they got John Wall. They got the number 1 pick in the draft and got John Wall. And Antoine was gone, Karan was gone, Gilbert was there, but he will eventually be gone. So the tail end of the Arenas, Karan, Jameson era, like the very tail end. That's the last time it was this bad. Like as far as losing streaks. Because that was 16, we currently at 10. What's going on, guys, for everybody in the chat? This is worrisome. Because, and I gotta give an apology to Scott Brooks. I gave you a lot of hell, Scott Brooks, deservedly so, because you weren't much better in your tenure here. But I will give you this, Scott. You weren't this bad. Scott, the teams under you were not this bad. And you done had some teams out there on the court that is pretty nuts. You done came out there with Troy Brown Jr., Isak Bonga, Wagner, Jerome Robinson out there, Shabazz Napier on the starting court. You done came out there and rolled them lineups out. And you wasn't losing 10 games in a row. Your teams weren't losing 10 games in a row. Scotty, your teams at least had some kind of identity. Fast pace, high octane offense. At least y'all had an identity. These Wes Unseld Jr. teams, I don't know what they do. I don't know what their identity is. I don't know what their offensive philosophy is. This Washington Wizards current team and current roster should not be on a 10-game losing streak. People thought this current roster was better than last season's roster. So what happened? Yes, guys are injured, but Kyle Kuzma's been here majority of the season. Porzingis has been there majority of the season. Bradley Beal's been banged up. I mean, you got Rui and DeLon, but still, that's only 2 role players. What's happened? This Wes Unseld Jr. has got to go. Like, I'm sorry. Even for a person who wasn't high on the Wizards' current roster and thought it was like a playing team, I refuse to believe this current Washington Wizards team, even with injuries here and there, I refuse to believe they're the 5th worst team in the NBA currently. I refuse to believe this roster is an 11-20 roster. I refuse to believe it. I refuse to believe it. So who do I blame? The coach. I blame the coach. I didn't like the coaching last season, and it's gotten worse this season. It's gotten worse this season. This roster, I swear to goodness, a decent coach would have this team at least looking at like maybe 15-15, 15-16, 16-15, 17-15, something around that range at least. A decent coach. 11-20 is pathetic. You would think KP, Kuz, and Brad has been gone for majority of the season. Like, something's not working. Brad comes back. He plays decent. Brad's been pretty decent the whole season. The big 3, they've been pretty decent the whole season. But something is just not right with Wes. I don't know. Something is not right with this guy. He's got to go. He's got to go. I just refuse. And even if you like, I get it. I get it. You know, at this point, you know, Tank, Victor, like that's all cool and dandy. I get it. But bro, nobody on this earth would have believed the Wizards would currently be, through 30 games, they would have experienced a 10-game losing streak and would have the 5th worst record in the NBA. I don't care if you weren't high on this roster or not. Nobody believes this team or this roster coming into the season would be 11-20, 5th worst record in the NBA bad. 10-game losing streak bad. The Wizards have put some real tanking lineups in, and they haven't lost this many games in a row. This is like, it's hard to lose 10 games in a row when you have 3 players that are very highly talented players. Even off talent alone, fine, you walk into a win. They can't even walk into a win. The old Wizards teams used to be like, under Brooks, they used to suck, but then they'll play a team that they don't really got no business beating, and they will win that game. And we'll be like, of course, they beat the Cavs with LeBron or something like that. They'll end up walking into a win. They'll beat the Warriors or something. Something crazy that they're not supposed to do. They can't even get those kind of games. They can't even get the games where it's like, they ain't got no business winning this game, but they won because they the Wizards. It ain't even that no more. This is just, like, bad. Like, I'm not mad. I'm worried. Because for a man in Ted Leonsis who says, we will never ever tank, continuing to employ Wes Unseld Jr. is going completely against your philosophy. Because I'm sorry, there's no way you look at this roster on paper and say this is the 5th worst roster in the NBA. It's absolutely no way. It's absolutely no way. You look at where they were last season into this season, and people thought this roster was better than last season's roster. But yet, you look at the record, you look at the losing streak, nothing makes sense. The only thing that I can come up with is the coaching. The coaching has to change. The blow it up, blow that coaching staff up, get rid of them. And I know Ted and company are going to have to, get off of their playbook, move on from their usual playbook of being loyal and giving guys a long time. This is unacceptable. This is unacceptable. If the Wizards want any kind of chance of really competing at any level at all, I'm talking like playing, whatever, they got to move on from West. I'm sorry. This is bad. Like, it's really bad. It's bad, man. I'm sorry. This is just, the regression is insane. The regression is legitimately insane and is worrisome. I'm not angry. I'm not on here yelling. I'm just coming in here as a concerned Wizards fan for the health of those players in there and for the health of the Wizards fan base. This roster's not this bad. I can promise you that. Even with the injuries. The Wizards have gotten ravaged by COVID in the Russell Westbrook year or whatever. Like at the beginning of the season, they got like crushed with COVID and everything. And that year started off rough. They ain't lose no 10 games in a row. They figured it out. They got something done. They got some wins. And you can look at that and say that roster wasn't as good as this current roster. I refuse. I just refuse to believe this team is 10 straight losses bad. I refuse to believe it. This roster is not that bad that they've lost 10 games in a row. And they're the 5th worst team in the NBA. I refuse to believe this roster is this bad. Like, I'm sorry. There's no way I can believe it. So the only thing I can come to is the coaching. You got to get rid of Wes. I don't care about the all the extracurricular stuff. He's got to go. And I feel like, I don't know who in the fan base would disagree with that. I feel like everybody in the fan base, whether you're, like I said before, whether you're high on the team's future outlook or not, and going off of last season, you expected the team to make some kind of decent, like, even if small, jump in comparison from last season. This drop-off is nuts. This team should not be in the 5th spot in the lottery. They should not. They simply should not. Wes has got to go. We can all talk about our coaches and who we think. There's a lot of coaches out there who probably would do a better job or who we can like. I saw Kevin in here talking about Quinn Snyder. Mark Jackson I saw in here. But, bro. This is nuts. This is nuts. It's really bad out here. It's really bad. Kenny Atkinson. But at the end of the day, we got to think, is Ted Leonsis is going to audible from his known play? Because we all know Ted's playbook. We know his playbook. He's a very loyal guy. Too loyal. We saw it with Scott Brooks. Scott Brooks got his whole contract all those years until the very end. He didn't get fired. He just didn't get re-signed. But, I mean, Ted, you got to call an audible here, bro. I'm sorry. This is even with, like, let's say they just go full out tank. Cool. I don't want Wes Unseld Jr. to be the head coach of, you know, my tanking team going into next season. I don't want him to be the coach of that team. I don't want Tommy Shepard to be the manager of my tanking team. Let's say they get the second pick or the first pick. I don't want Ted and/or Wes both. I don't want them to be around for that whole thing. I want them gone. I want them both gone. Ted can go too. I'm talking a lot about Wes, but Tommy, he can go too. 100%. I'm over him. Wes, he needs to go like today. Like, he shouldn't be back in DC. He should be gone. It's embarrassing what he's doing right now with this team. It's no way. It's no way, man. It's no way. I'm sorry. It's no way this roster is 10 losses straight bad. I'm sorry. Like, I've seen some rough Wizards rosters, and they've managed to string a game or two together, at least. This is bad, man. This is bad. Like, come on, man. This is terrible. And this is really bad because this is year 1 of Bradley Beal's Supermax contract, of his max deal. This is year 1. I mean, it can't get no worse than, it can. It can get worse, but it's okay. You know, you get less upset with the losses when you switch your brain into tank mode. You know, you start thinking about, like, getting Henderson or getting Wembanyama. You know, you start to, you know, the losses get a little easier. Right, Kevin? 1-13 since Thanksgiving. But, bro, regardless if you're pro tank or not, 1-13 since Thanksgiving is nuts. Like I said, I had to give an apology to Scott Brooks. You know, not that I'm saying that he wasn't terrible too in his own way, because he was. But he wasn't as bad as Wes. Wes is terrible, man. He's terrible. He gotta go. Like, I thought I was familiar with the Wizards playbook. They done changed the whole playbook on me. I thought I could count on the Wizards to get a win that, you know, against like the Celtics or somebody they ain't supposed to beat. You know, I always could count on the Wizards getting a win against higher level competition that they probably wouldn't win 9 times out of 10. They can't get those. It used to be the Wizards would struggle against competition you would think they would beat, and then beat the competition you think they should lose to. They would lose to the lower competition and then beat some higher competition. They losing to both now. They lose to they are the lower competition now. But they losing to the bottom of the league, and they losing to the top. They can't even buy a win. It's hard. I feel like it's really hard to lose 10 games in a row. It is really hard to lose 10 games in a row. Like, the Hornets are at 8, but, like, it's got to be hard to lose that many games in a row, bro. Like, you can waltz into a win. Like, I feel like a team will hand you a win. Like, man, it's got to be the coaching. That's the only thing I can come down to. Because this roster, I thought it was a play-in roster. Not a fifth pick in the lottery roster. It's no way anybody believe, whether you were high on the Wizards or not. It's no way you can tell me you believe this team would be 5th pick in the lottery bad. Considering that Kuzma's been here majority of the season. KP's been healthy majority of the season. Brad's been in and out, majority out. But even with Kuz and KP there, you would think they can get string like 1 or 2 or like get something, you know, with those two at least. They can't even do that. Brad comes back. Brad dropped 30 and whatnot, and they still can't get a win. So it don't even matter if Brad's there. Brad's gone. They can't buy a win. People feel like Jordan Goodwin should be starting, which I don't blame him for believing that. He should be. But he doesn't start. He still doesn't get enough minutes that he probably should get over a guy like Monte Morris. You can talk about rotation questions, everything. It's just hard to lose 10 games in a row, man. It really is. But Wes and company has found a way to do it. They found a way to lose 10 games in a row. It's nuts. That's what I got to say on it, man. It's crazy. Kelly said we all need to apologize to Ray with me as well, D. Reggie said Hornets lost 8 in a row. Their only L is against Kevin said Spurs. Like, it's different. Like the Spurs, we knew were a rebuilding team. Like, and this is different. The Hornets, we knew they were going to suck. Really. You know, losing Miles, etc. But also, you know, LaMelo being injured. So you really knew they was kind of going to be in the mud. I mean, bro. The Wizards? Come on, man. I'm not going to sit here and lie and act like, come on, man. I thought the Wizards were going to be this bad. I'm not going to sit here and act like I thought the Wizards were going to be this bad. Because that would be a lie. I did not think the Wizards would be this bad. I didn't think it. I had my question marks about Wes. I really did. I wasn't sold on him. I wanted to see how he did in his second year. I've seen enough. 30 games in. I've seen enough. Wes can go. Wes can pack his bags. I don't want to see him in Cap One Arena again. I was hoping that he got left in Denver. I know they'll take him back. He could be a good assistant. But, bro, I'm sorry. Maybe it's like he's trying to do, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to.
I ain't never ever
appreciate the $199, like Kevin. You said, watch me get DeMar to save the season.
How you feel?
What can help save the season is a new coach. Honestly, I mean, bro. This is 2 years in a row. 2 seasons in a row. I've seen the Wizards end up in the NBA history books for their own franchise and the NBA in general. All 3 negative. All 3 negative. Wizards, under Wes Unseld Jr., have blown the 2nd largest lead in NBA history. Play-by-play history. They've lost by 42 or something points. The largest home loss in franchise history this season. Giving up 98 points in the paint. The most in NBA history. I mean, the most in a game on record since 96-97. Like, I'm sorry, but if Ted, like, if he wants to tank, man, keep it Wes Unseld Jr. tells me that he wants to tank. You know? That tells me he wants to tank. Because when we had teams giving legit starting minutes to Isak Bonga, Mo Wagner, Jerome Robinson, when they were getting big time start and rotation minutes, we weren't this bad. We were bad, but not 10 straight. We ain't getting no 10 straight losses. We ain't had no 10 straight losses. We was bad, but we ain't getting no 10 straight losses. Scott and the boys got something. I mean, like, Ted, you're saying Kent Beaver will never ever tank, and you employing a coach who disappointed in your first season. Because it's been downhill since Wes has gotten here. You got Russ, right? You got Russ. With Scott and the boys, thanks to the play-in, they get to the AFC. They get to the playoffs. Scott's gone. We all happy. Yeah. We get Wes Unseld Jr. I was on board with it. I ain't gonna lie. I was on board with it. You get Kyle Kuzma. Everybody's like, oh, you fleeced the Lakers. You got Kyle Kuzma, etc. Cool. We missed the playoffs. We missed the play-in. End up with the 10th pick. Blow that. So next season, it's like, okay. It's like, all right, man. You know, we got Porzingis now. We fleeced the Mavericks. We got Porzingis, the most talented Wizards big in however long, maybe ever. Cool. Let's see how we do next season. You know, it was a little bit of a mess last season with Dinwiddie, etc. 10-game losing streak. 11-20. Fifth best odds in the lottery. Since Wes Unseld Jr. has gotten here, it's gotten worse. You went from the playoffs to the 10th seed. You went from the playoffs with Scott and the 15th seed to the 10th seed. Blew that pick. That's what it's looking like. You blew that pick. Possibly. At the moment, that's how it's looking. Who knows? And now, you go from 10 to currently 5. We going downhill. Scott left and we going downhill. But our rosters have gotten better. It's so confusing, right? We made the playoffs. With Scott, etc. We felt like as a fan base that we improved our roster last season and improved our roster again this season. But our record is going down. But we felt like our rosters were improving and going up. But our record is going down. So I'm confused as to what's going on. I'm confused as to what's happening here. I gotta go coaching. I'm sorry. Because, I don't know if the players don't... I don't know. But this roster should not be 11-20 right now and currently on a 10-game losing streak and currently 1-13 since Thanksgiving. It should not be this way. It shouldn't. Ted, if you serious about not tanking, because I don't care. I don't care if you do tank, which I think is beneficial for the future. If you personally don't want to tank, then, brother, you got to move on from this guy. I'm sorry, because this is bad. This is bad. This is like I said, this is the end of the Karan, Gilbert, Antoine era bad. 2009, 2010. 16-game losing streak. You add 10. The year before you got John. You looking like that. It's rough out here for y'all. It's looking bad. But y'all are supposed to be a team who felt like y'all could compete. Who felt like y'all could get to the playoffs potentially. I thought y'all had a shot at maybe getting the 8th seed or something. I'm telling y'all. Like, I wasn't high on the Wizards, but I wasn't this low on the Wizards. And like anybody who tells you they were this low on the Wizards, 10-game losing streak, 5th best odds in the lottery, low, I promise you they're lying. Like, you could think the Wizards was going to suck, but not to this extent. Like, this is nuts. This is nuts. 10 in a row is nuts. I don't know if I've ever experienced, like, as I like went in my teenage years, I don't know if I've ever experienced the Wizards lose like 10 in a row. I feel like I didn't. Like when I was starting to watch every single Wizards game, I feel like I never seen 10 straight losses until Wes got here. Kevin, that is not how you run a business, man. If that's the thought process, Ted need to go ahead and sell the team, man. That is not how business works. I mean, and I'm talking about Wes a lot, but Ted, you can get it too. I ain't gonna lie to you. Ted, you can get it as well. Because, I said Ted, Tommy. Tommy, you can get it as well. Wes getting some, but Tommy, you can get it too. Because the roster around the three that the franchise keeps trying to, quote as this big three, which, I mean, it's just a lot of issues. It's a lot of issues with this team. But bro, I don't know. I have no answers. I have no answers for this 10-game losing streak. Like I said, my anger has turned into worry. Like, yeah, it's cool, that we in the Victor sweepstakes and whatnot at the moment. But for a team that wasn't supposed to be tanking, this is worrisome. Like, this is bad. They are the bad news bears out there right now. And for an owner who said that he's not into tanking, for every game that Wes Unseld Jr. is employed, you're going against that saying that we will never ever tank. Because that coach cannot get the best out of this roster. I've seen it for 2 seasons in a row at this point. You got a coach who cannot get the best out of the current roster. I promise you. Because this current roster is not 11-20 bad. Even with the minor injuries here and there. And with DeLon being gone and Rui. Like, bro. They're not 11-20 bad. They're not 1-13 bad. They're not 10-game losing streak bad. You just got a coach who can't maximize and get the best out of this roster. Offensively or defensively. Yes, the Wizards could improve at the point guard position, but my God. Like, I mean, is that detrimental to the team that they can't win a game? Oh my goodness. And to go along with the coach who can't maximize and fully realize the strength of the current roster, you got a GM who can't fully put a sound complementary team around his top players. And then on top of that, you got an owner who refuses to take the next steps and to knock it down and to try to move into a new era. So, on all 3 levels, it's looking rough. It's looking rough. So, I don't know, man. You got dudes out here in Coos dreaming about the West Coast. It's bad. It's bad out here, guys. That's really all. That's really all it is. It's just bad. It's rough. Facts, Kevin. Wes Unseld Jr. peaked at 10-3. He peaked. Wes Unseld Jr. peaked at 10-3, and it's been downhill ever since. Going into season 2, 10-3 is what he is not even best known for, because he's most known for blowing that lead against the Clippers last season. That's what he's most known for. But, I mean, bro, This is bad, man. This is bad. And like I said, I refuse to believe the team is this bad. You know, this roster is not that bad. It's not this bad. I just believe that they have a coach who cannot maximize the roster, offensively or defensively. And Ted has to audible from his playbook of loyalty and move on from this guy. Like, period. Some things are just unacceptable. Some things are just unacceptable. When you look at how the team was talking, how Bill was talking, etc., how everybody was talking, this should be unacceptable. It's as simple as that. This current stretch should be unacceptable and it should be unredeemable. Maybe the assistant coach or somebody, the interim coach, can get a spark out of this team that Wes can't do it. That Wes couldn't do. Like, coaching is very important. Coaching means a lot. You saw the Nets under Steve Nash, and you see the Nets now under the interim. Night and day. You know, that roster wasn't as bad as they were performing. The Wizards aren't as bad as they're currently performing. You know, who knows how much actually, like, better they are, but it ain't this bad. And I feel like the massive issues that they have at the coaching spot has so much to do with it. That's the only thing I can come up with. It's got to be the coaching. And it's up to Ted if he wants to keep this guy around and suck. If that's his prerogative, be my guest. You know, maybe it leads us to a top 5 pick, top 3 pick, which Wizards fans will be even worried about that. Can they get that pick and hit on that? But that's good for the future. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with a top 5 pick. I'm fine with a top 3 pick. I'm completely fine with that. But if you want to salvage whatever it is of this season and compete in any level or shape or form or fashion, you got to get rid of this guy. Give the interim a chance and see what you can do next season under a new coach. Or bring somebody in or whatever. Because 30 games in, I think we've all seen enough. You know, we've all seen enough. I'm sorry. It's as simple as that. This is terrible. I'm telling you, they really look like the bad news bears out there. Because I just don't know. I feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Like, I feel like the Wizards, like, I'm sure the numbers don't agree with this, but, like, I feel like the Wizards are worse defensively under West than they were with Scott, which is, I mean, not really true, because the Wizards played at such a fast pace that their games were so high scoring. But, I mean, it's rough. Like I said, I'm not angry. I'm not whatever. I'm just more so worried because even let's say they were tanking, I don't like the coach and GM combination going into this tank. You got a GM who's continued the trend of struggling to draft. You got a coach who's, in my opinion, worse than the last one. And that's saying a lot because I had a lot of issues and we all had a lot of issues with Scott and we was begging for him to get out the door. You got a coach who's looks even worse, who I just, man. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sorry. You have, like, the top end talent on the team alone should be enough to squeak a win by somebody. What's the disconnect here? Why is I don't know. Maybe it's something not clicking. And like I said, it's the coach. The Wizards have a Wes Unseld Jr. problem. He's got to go. He's got to go. There has to be an emergency, like, audible. You know, what they say in the NFL with the quarterbacks be saying, kill, 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 alert, alert, alert. That's what Ted need to do. He need to audible out his playbook and move to a new play. I know he a loyal guy, like to be loyal, whatnot, give guys chances and opportunities. You know, he likes consistency, longevity, but this is nah. This ain't it. This is not it. I mean, like I said, point guard is a need for sure. It's continued to be a need. But, oh man. They have enough talent to get a win or string 2 wins together. I mean, this is terrible. It's disgusting. It's really disgusting. Maddie said, how can multiple people score 20 points in multiple games and still lose? It's totally on Wes and the defense. And I think a lot of it is the team the team doesn't really buy in to whatever Wes is saying. The players can say whatever they want to say in the post-game press conference, but I see it on the court. Like, nah, man. Biggie says, the Wizards really that bad, or is it really their defense that bad? Whatever it is, Wes isn't getting the max potential out of it. Like, he's not getting the best out of the defense. I don't think he's getting the best out of their offense. Nah, man. It ain't it. Wes ain't it. Kevin said, let's be honest, D. Ted too loyal to the Unselds. He basically bows down to his... Like, it's bad. Man, you said, really, Shepard is to blame. What do you really expect out of a coach who's never head coach before? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I absolutely. Like I said, Tommy can go too. Even if we get Victor or something like that, let's say, with those long shot possibilities and odds, who knows? I don't want Tommy being the GM of this new Victor era. I don't want Wes being the head coach of this Victor era. I don't want either of them being involved. I mean, I'm telling you. Like, I need these dudes out my organization, man. I need them out. Seriously, I do. I need them gone. I need Wes gone ASAP, like right now. I need Tommy gone as well. But 100%, Wes goes now. I need to see Woj tweet by tomorrow. The Wizards lose their next game, which they're going to lose. They play the Suns next. They're going to lose that. I need to see Wes gone. I need to see the alert on Twitter. Because the Wizards are going to go to 11 straight losses and 1-14 since Thanksgiving. They're not beating the Suns in Phoenix. Biggie, what are your thoughts about Sam Cassell as the head coach? I mean, I wouldn't mind it. I know he's been a popular name with Wizards fans for a very long time. Vay said the worst part about this is we're going to lose a really good player in Kyle Kuzma. I mean, they can pay him, but he want to be paid, so they're going to move on from him, trade him. But you know, I don't know. I don't want my drafts controlled by Tommy Shepard and company no more. I don't want my team coached by Wes Unseld Jr. anymore. I want both of those guys gone. I need Wes gone immediately though. Like, I need that expedited. I need him gone stat. Like, I need him eradicated from the franchise. I need him gone. I don't know. Maybe Ted's like too caught up in Ovi and like Ovechkin's like in 800 goals and all that. Maybe he's too caught up in that in the chase of Gretzky that he's like he's completely forgetting about the Wizards. Maybe he just forgot about them or something. But maybe he's too focused on Alex right now in the Capitals. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, he says garage so everybody's available. I mean, they like they need to get off the Bradley Beal contract. We all knew that was going to come to. It was all going to come to this fact. Like being the fifth pick in the lottery currently is not good when you have a guy making $250 million on your roster. Like you look at Charlotte, is somebody making 250 mil? Detroit, is somebody making that much? San Antonio, is somebody making that much? Houston, is somebody making that much? Orlando, is somebody making that much? I don't. Oklahoma City, is somebody making that much? The Wizards are the only team where somebody's making that kind of money, but yet they're down here. It's like all these teams that's down here, they ain't paying nobody that kind of money, you know? So it's rough out here, guys. It's bad. It's definitely bad. So, I mean, we all have our coach suggestions, but realistically, do we see Ted Leonsis firing Wes Unseld Jr.? I would hope so. I think Ted needs to definitely call that audible. You know, move out of his playbook, but and go ahead and hit that fire. But it would surprise me if he did it mid-season. That's not a Ted thing to do. A mid-season fire, that's very out of the ordinary for the Wizards. What can I say, man? This is who child. This is terrible. Absolutely nasty work. Absolutely nasty work. I mean, y'all already see it. Y'all already see it, man. Y'all already see it. Ted, if you want to save this season or have it be any kind of meaningful, you got to get a coach who can maximize this roster because you currently do not have one. You currently do not have a coach who can maximize this roster offensively and or defensively. It's no way you lose one player, DeLon Wright, and your defense falls off of a cliff as bad as it has. Like, oh man. This is terrible out here. It's terrible. But, I mean, y'all are pretty much saying everything that I feel. I agree with what y'all are saying in the chat. It's a pain to watch these Wizards games, man. It really is. But, like, I'm at a point where I'm not mad anymore. I'm not upset anymore. You know, we've all kind of switched to the mindset of with every loss we get closer to victor. So, you know, that's a good thing. It's a good mindset to have now. You know, to save yourself the anger and the yelling. Just look at it. Every Wizards loss, just look at it as, hey, one step closer to victor, man. I mean, that's great. Because I feel like DeLon's been gone longer than his diagnosis of however many weeks or whatever. I feel like he's definitely been out longer than that timeline. He's been gone for a while. But I don't know. But I'm over Wes. I'm 100% over Wes. I don't feel like he's the coach that can maximize this roster. I don't. Rui, I mean, this is a second straight season where Rui's just been gone for a little while now. Rui was gone with the stuff last season for half the season and whatnot. And now Rui's gone with the injury. He's missing a lot of games. I don't remember the last time Rui played in a game. So this is back-to-back seasons for him that he's just kind of been MIA for a little good chunk. I don't know. And this is this year going that he's going into restricted free agency, so the Wizards are either going to bring him back or let him go. But I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on here. I don't know what's going on with certain players. I don't know what's going on with the franchise. I really don't know. I really don't know, guys. I mean, hey. I don't know. Our draft pick, I mean, he's made some flash plays here and there in the G League. But, I mean, he hasn't been doing anything amazing in the G League. So, you know, the 10th pick isn't looking that terrific. I don't know what's going on, guys. I don't know. I don't know what's happening with this team. I don't know what's happening. I do not know what's happening with this team. I have no idea what's going on, man. It's nuts out here. It's really nuts out here, honestly. It's crazy. It's really crazy, but I mean that's all, man. You guys are definitely yeah. I mean, looking back at it, we definitely could have used Malcolm Brogdon. You know, I wasn't the biggest fan of it at the time, but looking back, I definitely would have gave up Malcolm Brogdon for that 10th pick. Looking at who they drafted and how that 10th pick is looking and who's currently starting at the point guard spot, they might as well should have went with Malcolm Brogdon. You're absolutely right, Kevin. They might as well have gone with Malcolm Brogdon. Who they picked at the 10th pick, who they currently have starting, they might as well went with Malcolm. You're absolutely right. Absolutely. But hey, what are you going to do, man? What are you going to do? But, I mean, that's going to be it for me, guys. A lot of what you guys are saying, I feel the same way. About the coach suggestions that you guys have had, you know, I feel the same way. I like the options. I like those options. Will the Wizards make a mid-season coaching change? I'd be surprised. That's not something the Wizards are very accustomed to doing. I would be surprised by that. But yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like the roster is severely underperforming under Wes. And I feel like they need a coach who can put these guys in I don't know, bring the strength, maximize the strengths out of this roster. Because currently the coach who's there isn't doing it. As simple as that. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys. You guys are feeling the same way I'm feeling. Hopefully things change as far as, like, I don't know, the coaching and whatnot. I mean, and if it doesn't, one step closer to Victor. I mean, look at it like that. Look at it like that, man. If nothing changes, one step closer to Victor or Henderson. One step closer to them. If nothing changes. If a coaching change occurs, I would love that as well. But that's about it, man. Kevin, I don't want nothing to do with this team, head coaching wise. I don't got time for this. I'm not good with a lot of stress. This team would stress me out. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. That's all my feelings on the subject. That's my feelings on the topic. You know, I just wanted to get on here and talk about your boy, Wes Unseld Jr. It's rough out here. It really is. But you guys have a good rest of your night. Wizards play the Suns next. Good luck to the Wizards. Trying to get that win and lose in this losing streak. Don't know if Devin Booker will be playing. If he does play, then really good luck. Um, I don't know if Aiton will be playing. If he's playing too, then really good luck again. But that's about it, man. So have a good night, guys. And that's it, man. Peace.